What is up, my Lorcana Goons, and welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel. You guys are watching the Friday Weekly Market Watch with me, Kevin, and Zach Stone as we go over Lorcana news, meta trends, and card prices. Zach Stone, some epic news this week. We got to reveal a card yesterday on our channel, on our social media pages for the new Whispers in the Well set that's going to drop on November 7th at your local game stores and a worldwide release on the November 14th weekend. Can't hold it back anymore is the card we got to reveal, and if you guys want to see our skit, it's on Instagram, on YouTube, and we made a whole video talking about the strategies behind this card, but there's a lot of other cards being revealed this weekend, so be sure to follow your favorite content creators and support them so that you can see all these new cards being dropped in Whispers in the Well, like this Judy Hopps lead detective, which is a shift Judy Hopps character, our first Floaterborn Judy Hopps character that has a new keyword as well. During your turn, your detective characters gain resist +2 and alert. We found out about alert as a keyword yesterday. Some of the characters being revealed have this keyword, and it says they can challenge as if they had evasive. Damage dealt to them is reduced by 2. That's the resist part, right? So alert is kind of like your current steel characters that have evasive on your turn, but it kind of feels like they're gonna give this keyword ability to maybe the color board across the spectrum of Lorcana. What do you think, Zach?
You know, I really like what they're doing with alert, the new keyword, because it allows cards like Dumbo to not be so oppressive, right? I think the reason why those characters that during your turn will be evasive allow cards like Dumbo to flourish. And alert is just a good way to apply that same concept. It definitely allows cards like Dumbo to not snowball with the current card pool available. I do recommend joining the official Disney Lorcana Discord. That is discord.gg/Disney Lorcana, with the card reveal section posted of exactly who and when they will be revealed. But let's go over some more card news.
Yeah, for all you competitive players out there, we have new mechanics, the alert keyword, and some updated news on the actual competitive aspect of the game. We have one of the game developers posting on the official Disney Lorcana Discord, like Zach recommended, talking about how the judges moving forward are going to create this like culture of basically allowing takesies backsies, for lack of a better word. And I think a lot of the community is erupting in conversation over this, and that's just kind of layman's terms. That's kind of what they're doing. They're going to allow you to have some takebacks, but it's more of like an appropriate situation, right? So there's a lot of context here. There's a lot of context here and a lot of nuance as well. I definitely urge you guys to read all the messages from not only the official Ravensburger and Disney Lorcana Discord, so you can kind of understand what this means and where they're going with this, but also looking at the judge responses like Googly Glimmers here, who's an awesome reference for judging. Basically, what they're trying to do is make the game welcoming to new players. By doing that, they are not trying to hyper-focus in the competitive aspect of the game by punishing like small misplays in a scenario where you accidentally ink a card and a card you weren't supposed to ink that turn, right? And I think that's happened to a lot of us, happened to all of us. And just real quick, I'm gonna give my opinion because this is Lorcana news as well. Competitive playing in TCGs is very punishing, and playing other card games, you often fall in scenarios where you're fatigued, you're tired from playing 10 rounds of Swiss, and in your 11th round, maybe you ink a 2-cost character and you play a different 2-cost character, and it was supposed to be the other way around. And that's happened before. It's happened to me. It's happened to the best of us. Usually what happens though is you accept that you messed up. You accept that you put the wrong card on the board, that you're sleepy, that you're tired, that you're clumsy, that you played sloppy. You have to accept that you messed up. What they've kind of decided is in scenarios like that, in very minimal scenarios like that, you're going to be allowed to correct the situation that you put yourself in. This could be either a scenario where you're challenging. This could be a scenario where you're choosing the different character, maybe with an action. I do want to stress, though, that I don't think this is something that is meant to be taken advantage of. Clearly, it's not meant to be taken advantage of. And I say that because when you hear this and you read these words and you read these ideas of how to further change tournament policy, I think the first thing people do is they look for ways to like nitpick at it, and they look for ways to like target it from a very bad faith angle. Obviously, if you're a cheater and you want to cheat at card games, you're gonna go out of your way to take advantage of something like this, meaning maybe every round you're gonna try and get away with taking back a play, right? But it's really important to call judges when you think this is happening. It's really important to call a judge even if it is something that the person can take back, because judges at these events are going to be taking note of which players are doing this too often than not, right? So I think context is really important. Once again, I don't think it's going going to be something as simple as like, oh, you play a card, you turn your ink, you resolve an action, you pass turn, then you tell your opponent, actually, let me do my whole turn again. That's not what they're allowing, you know. So I don't. So right off the bat, like I've been seeing a lot of over exaggerated responses from people, and that's not what they're allowing. It's going to be very nuanced situations. But I know Zach, you had opinions on it too. Personally, a lot of people have been saying they don't like this. In fact, citizens of Lorcana did a poll asking, take-backs on misplays in Lorcana should be allowed when? Some people, very few people put never. Most people put for casual social play. I even put at league events, and I did not put at competitive events, because I've just been taught when playing card games, when you're at the highest level of competition, you have to accept your misplays. You have to accept the fact that you accidentally put the wrong card on board, etc., etc. What do you think, Zach Stone?
I definitely think that we should have a clear line on what we're going to allow takebacks on and what we are not going to allow takebacks on. I think there is some sort of accountability players need to have while playing the game. For example, let's just say I have an opponent that has a location in play and they have characters in play and they pass their turn. Before they, realize it, they actually have enough ink that's readied, able to move characters in said location. Now I can draw for turn, I can ready my ink, and before I make any plays, if my opponent goes, oh, hey, can I move this character here? I would allow it, because that's not really something that they're going to gain any information on. That's not something that I feel like is going to change any sort of context. So I think I do have a favor of it not happening, right? However, there's not like an advantage gained, but like a misunderstanding of how cards go down and wanting to take it back after committing actions. But let's just say you played something like Brawl, right? And Brawl is a card that's no longer in the core constructed format. However, let's say I played a Brawl and I realized my opponent doesn't have a character with 2 or less strength in play. Am I allowed to put this Brawl back in my hand, or am I forced to brawl one of my own cards? Now, I think what this new rules would allow is me to put the Brawl back in my hand, right? I think that is something that is going to be up for debate on whether or not you're going to be committed into like forcing these actions. And I think that's also going to allow some bad actors to come into play. Not saying that it always is intended to be this way, like to be taken advantage of. It's just what's going to happen. It's a cause and effect issue.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving literally the opposite perspective of what I was giving, because I feel like my whole thing is that like I'm totally cool with it, and there's a lot of players too, especially in the like big Lorcana competitive community, that just will let you take back anything, even if it's the finals of a big tournament. Because I think the idea also is that like, hey, if I'm gonna win, if I'm gonna beat you, it should be while you're playing at your best, right? And that's totally fine too. Yeah, I think it's also up to your discretion up until this point, right? Before the judges getting involved, I think it's also up to your discretion. That's totally up to you. And once again, it's not something that's been directly implemented yet into tournament policy, and I think we're going to really see what this means, for tournaments going forward, starting with DLC Milwaukee. But huge news also with the reveals yesterday. I started to talk about that for so long. If you guys are skipping forward, we're at the market watch stuff now. But huge card reveals yesterday. We had confirmed reprints. Guys, confirmed reprints for set 10 Whispers in the Well with Dragonfire and Detective Mickey. And this is after the lorecast where Greg Tito said it was going to be 200 plus new cards. So I felt like we were lied to, but I'm kind of glad we were lied to, because we are finally seeing alternate arts in Lorcana consistently in the sets, and I think it's really cool. Hopefully they make these into epic rares too, but for now, a lot of these reprinted cards, their old versions, are going up in price, like this Dragonfire DLC promo. You got this for participating last season in the DLCs, which is almost 2 years ago already, and basically they gave these out for free at every DLC by like round 2, and they were selling for around $30 to $40 for the longest time. But look at this, they've all been selling out, they've been bought out. All of these are selling for close to $60 now. Pro Play Games lowest verified has you for $59.99. They have 13 of them, and there's only 8 listings left. So if you guys did not pick these up when they were $30, $40, or if you guys still have these in your inventory since the DLC last season, you're up right now. These are going up alongside the Detective Mickey, which is a little bit different in price. Yeah, it's not $50, but these still went up too. These were like $2 to $3 for the longest time, and now that Detective Mickey is gonna make its way back into Whispers in the Well, you can see that these are shooting up to $7 to $8 already. Sunshine Games here, $6.99. Then we have Josh's Emporium with some extra shipping, getting very close to that $8 mark for your Detective Mickey promos. I think that's really cool. We have the reprints that we've been asking for, especially in alternate arts, and I am a big fan of alternate art cards, and I think it's about time they make their way to Lorcana and they permanently stay here in every set. Zach Stone, let the people know about Mickey Mouse Brave Little Prince.
The Mickey Mouse Brave Little Prince is actually going up because of the news, right? The Detective Mickey is a character that on turn 3 allows you to put a card on top of your deck into your Inkwell Exerted. Now, it's also important to think about, right, that you can shift this Mickey Mouse Brave Little Prince on the following turn after you ink because you'll have 5, right? This is a $20 card overnight. It was around $5 to $6. I know I sold them for around that price for a while, and now it being $20 is crazy. Cold foils are also going up. Let's remember, though, this is an iconic rare, and I don't know if people are going to be playing the iconic rares per se, but this might see more play in the post-whispers in the well meta. I know a lot of blue-red players are excited to play their favorite color combo again.
And speaking of red-blue players, I think they also got the hint that the Ruby Sapphire deck is alive and well next format, and Maui Shark is picking up in sales because of it. We have a new market price of $35 again, lowest verified is $35 by the lowest listing, Sirius Unbound, then it jumps to $37.99 by Gamer Dojo, then Omega Gaming, $39.45. Maui Shark getting very close to that $40 mark again. If you guys were here with us in the Market Watch last week or 2 weeks ago, we were talking about how Maui Shark was hitting as low as $30. And Zach Stone even said if you can find them for less than 30 bucks, that is a come up, that's a steal, because this card is just that good. And look at this new format coming in. Maui Shark's already shooting up $5 or $10. Love to see it alongside Tamatoa Happy as a Clam. Check this out. It feels like people are seeing new hopes, new dreams with Sapphire Ruby. There was a lot of items that got revealed in Whispers in the Well so far. I implore you guys to go check those items out. Go check out those new card reveals from these content creators. And I think people are starting to cook already because Tamatoa Happy as a Clam going up from $15 to a $22 card today. JNL Games, $22 lowest verified for your Tamatoa Happy as a Clams. And people are buying them, 3 of them for $25 each. Multiples being sold for more than 20 bucks. Very cool to see. I think if you've been holding on to these since like 2 formats ago, you're chilling now. You still have one of the best legendaries in the game. Card's still really good, don't doubt it. Dumbo, Ninth Wonder of the Universe. This legendary was selling for $60, $65, almost $70 in the beginning of the format. And now that we have new cards being released, we're starting to see maybe new strategies becoming very relevant next format. So are people getting rid of their Dumbos because they're losing faith? What's happening? Either way, the prices are going down a little bit. Lowest verified is Gamer Heaven. You can find this online TCG player for $46 with $2 shipping. A little bit less than $50 by some of these sellers. But you start to creep on that $55 mark by Overdose Gaming here. That's going to be our seller with the highest amount of sales right there. So anywhere from $45 to $55 for your Dumbos right now. But hey, that's still better than paying like $60, $70 than it was a couple of weeks ago, right?
Seen a lot of cards being played to counteract this big-eared fella, and hey, I honestly feel you, Dumbo. I'm a big-eared fella myself, so this has got to be a good thing for those that have been waiting for Dumbo to go down. I know I've had a lot of people come up to me at the booth and they always kind of share, I can't afford the price, I can't justify spending this much, and I don't blame you, and if you ever are looking to get some Dumbos now, I do still have some available at the Frank and Sons Collectible Show, where I vend at every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. And if you need cards, and if you're in the local San Diego County area, Kevin, where are you located?
Yeah, I am in Carlsbad at the Ninja Exchange Collectibles Show, and I am currently out of Dumbos, so don't come looking for those. But we can play some games if you ever want to play some Lorcana there, where they're Friday through Sunday. We are going to talk about Tinkerbell, the Giant Fairy, next. This is the promo, the Glimmer foil promo from the Fabled set that you get with the Mickey Mouse binder, 4 packs, and the Tinkerbell Giant Fairy, which is selling for around $7, $6.48 here by K&K. That's going to be our lowest verified. So a Glimmer foil, $7 that you get in that pack alongside 4 packs of Fabled. Not too bad. I actually like this foiling a little bit more than the regular cold foils, so I think these are pretty cool to have in my deck. I really like the Elsa Fitzspirit Glimmer foil promo. These are selling for $10, which is pretty cool. I know that little gift box sells for around $30 to $35, and you get like 5 packs. Unfortunately, you don't get Fabled packs in the box set that this comes out in, but this card is just more than playable. It's such a strong card in the meta. I was having this conversation with one of my homies. Shout out John John. He was talking about how, Sail the Azurite Sea does not deserve a ban. Sapphire really isn't the problem. Amethyst is the problem. And apparently he thinks Elsa Fitzspirit is the reason for that problem. I think this card's so good. It makes so much sense though, right? Like, you have the ability to gain tempo by exerting an opposing character in this stale format. And if you go first and your opponent isn't ramping, you're going to be able to drop the Elsa first. But in the new set, there's a couple other cards that are coming out that exert opposing characters. So I get the feeling we're going to be expanding a little bit further away from this specific card to do that. We have Ursula Voice Stealer, we have the new Can't Hold It Back Anymore, which also exerts characters. So a lot of new strategies coming into the new set for Lorcana. Let's talk about some other cold foils though that are popping right now. Stop Chaos in its tracks. A lot of people using this in their Emerald Sapphire decks. It's a cold foil, and right now they're pretty cheap, only for about $1 with some extra shipping costs. You're gonna pay about $2 each one here by Glimmer Depot. We also have Guardian Ribs, and then some non-verified sellers that have it for around 50 cents with some extra shipping. You have to get one of each from different sellers. You can't get them all from one seller, unfortunately, but they're still pretty cheap right now for a cold foil card that seems kind of relevant in the meta. Alongside Palace Guard, I think this card is really cheap. It's a cold foil common, but it just feels very strong. It feels like a lot of players are using this in their Amethyst Steel decks, and I get the feeling that this might also be used in Ruby Amethyst next format. We like dealing damage to our own characters in Ruby Amethyst. Has a 4 willpower. That's pretty strong. Just saying, might be a little bit more worth than $1.20 with some extra shipping by Help You Win here.
Yeah, that Palace Guard is just a really tough one drop to deal with sometimes. And more illusion characters that are also hard to deal with is this Giant Cobra. The cold foils right now are sitting around $7 to $8. And again, Purple Steel making its breakthrough in the top 8, taking 3 different spots in the DLC Bologna. I really would expect and implore people to, have a solution and a game plan against that deck at your set champs, or even DLC Milwaukee, which Kevin and I will be at. So make sure you guys say hi if you guys will be there. And yeah, this is just a very strong card, a 4/4 body for 3. Even though it's an illusion with the vanish keyword, I still think that they better have it, right? And you have to even decide as you're playing cards like Giant Cobra or other illusion characters, what type of action or song can they play to remove this, and how off tempo or off curve does it really put them? Because it might even be beneficial for you to do that, and that's what the decision that they decide to make. Because again, making their turn as awkward as possible is how you're going to win some of these games. And another card that can help you win some of these games is this Emerald Chromicon. Cold foils right now are starting to go up, guys, so make sure you're picking up your Emerald Chromicon cold foils if you're looking to bling out those Emerald decks, because they are sitting around the $3, maybe even $4 mark.
Real quick before we call it a day, we want to let you guys know that there are some pre-order singles now available on TCG Player for the new Whispers in the Well set. Some of the cards that are being revealed you can now find on TCG Player to pre-order, like this Demona, the Scourge of the Wyvern Clan, pre-ordering for around $40 as a legendary. And we've said this time and time again in every Market Watch video in every format. Don't buy the pre-orders. Definitely does not seem worth it, especially in Lorcana. Not many legendaries end up being this price. I believe the most expensive legendary right now is going to be Tiana and Clarabelle. Neither of those are selling for $40, so I don't think you're going to really need to worry about this. I guess maybe Dumbo. Dumbo was the exception, duh. Dumbo was the exception, selling for around 60 to 70, but even then, when Dumbo was pre-ordering, it was still pre-ordering for around that price, right? It was kind of settling around that 60 set. I think even it was pre-ordering for $100 at one point. So I don't think it was worth pre-ordering that $100 Dumbo. Right now you're seeing it at $45, even though we have about a month left before this set actually comes out. So you're pre-ordering a month in advance. You don't know what's going to happen by then. I recommend that we just wait to see what all the cards are doing as they get revealed before you pull the trigger on any of these $40 legendary pre-orders. Let's talk about some Enchanted before we call it a day. Winnie the Pooh, Honey Wizard Enchanted. Zach, you mentioned to me that earlier in the week, there wasn't that many listings available. In fact, right now, we have one verified listing by Ruby Wizard Games at $2.19. Then, after we skip these non-verified sellers, the next verified seller has it at $2.95. Wow. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can get it from these non-verified sellers as well. I think that's still pretty cool if you want to get a little bit of a discount. But from $220 to very close to $300 on this Winnie the Pooh Honey Wizard, a character that sees no meta play, but probably one of the most epic Enchanted rares that we've seen so far. I think that it is kind of speaking of like Lorcana's overall collectability, right?
Yeah, I really like this design and artwork. It almost feels like the third iconic that was kind of splashed in this set. And a lot of people ask me if I have this card, to be honest with you. Kevin. And I know they're not trying to play with this card, right? They just want to collect it. They want to have one because they love the character. Pooh is an awesome childhood memory for those. And I got to admit, when they added this honey classification to it, I can imagine them playing on this later on, right? It is going to be around for quite some time, being like the first set in the quarter, and it's going to drive a lot of collectors into the game. And I think that that's important for games like this. You need some people willing to buy this product and open it to pull these cards, because we need those playables from that set, right? And the Bell Strange but Special, not currently in the competitive constructed format, but this is going to be an enchanted rare that people still want to collect, and it's sitting around $208, which I've noticed, in the past like month or two, this price kind of fluctuate between like 180 to 200, and now with the amount of listings that we have, we could see a price spike.
Let's take a look at the Minnie Mouse iconic rare. Today, lowest verified is now $1,000, Zach Stone. That doesn't mean that's what it's selling for. All the recent sales, which by the way, I like this. We have recent sales for this card throughout October, multiple times throughout October, and this is really important to me. I think a lot of people want to collect this card, right? One for 900, one's for 700, 850, 900, another one for 800. So the highest we're seeing it sell for is 900. Today, the lowest verified is $1,000 though. Wow, very excited to see if this is going to sell for $1,000 on TCG Player. I mean, on eBay, I think they're also already going up too. And the Mickey Mouse Brave Little Tailor from the D23 box has been going up this week too, Zach. Check this out. These were around $30 to $40 in the early September. And you pointed out to me this morning that lowest verified today is JJ's Card Emporium. Huge shout out to you. They have 14 of them ready to go for you if you need them at $85. Wow, these kind of doubled in price. This Mickey Mouse Brave Little Tailor is not playable in the current format, hasn't been reprinted, so I don't think that's the reason why. I'm not entirely sure why. I think speculation overall, especially when we talked about that Bell, that first chapter thing. I think part of it is because Fable is out now, and we've seen the first chapter boxes go up in price a little bit, and I'm assuming that they're not going to be printing any more first chapter anytime soon. You guys are more than welcome to make your assumptions. And same thing with the D23 products. We know now that these are gone, and they did like one re-release. I doubt they'll do another re-release up until then, though. I don't think the prices are gonna ever come down again from this. What do you think?
Tough to say. I don't know how these Lorcana collectors can be, and to assume that they feel like they know what they're spending their money on. I think it's been a while since we've seen any sort of restock or promotional giveaway with this D23 2024 box set, and that could be a good indication for people to want to start throwing some of their money and buying some of these cards and some of these boxes up, because right now they're around $200 for some unverified sellers, and around that same price with the shipping being $15 from other verifieds. But I just want to kind of point out that they are tricking upwards, and with the cards inside these boxes essentially pay for the box itself and then some, you really can justify this price going up. And I do want to kind of say that this is a product that was only released for a weekend and then also released for a raffle giveaway for those that were gold members of D23, and I think they also gave a box to each of the world's participants. So there is a little bit more out in the wild than was initially thought of, and we haven't seen any news of these being brought back again, so they might be completely out of stock.
Yeah, I'll be frank. I'm hoping they don't bring these back. I like that they're collectible. I want to see them collectible. And I like that the prices of each individual card have been going up little by little over the course of the last couple weeks. And some of these are very playable. Ursula Deceiver, Oswald, even Vanellope Von Sweet seems kind of playable, right, Zach? So overall, very glad to see that these cards are going up a little bit and the box set is going up a little bit, because I know a lot of people also bought a lot of these. So maybe it might be time to try and offload some of these, because I know we paid probably about $100 each, retail. So, 200, not too shabby in my opinion. But that's going to be all for this week's Market Watch video. Thank you so much, my Lorcana goons. Thank you so much for all of those who watched our card reveal yesterday, whether or not you shared it on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever. We appreciate you guys for sharing the news. We were so excited to be able to work with Team Disney Lorcana and Ravensburger to reveal this card. Can't Hold It Back Anymore, which is going to feature in Whispers in the Well. So you guys better keep up with all the card reveals. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this video and this channel if you like this content, because we do Lorcana content every Monday and Friday and more in between. So stay tuned to Lorcana Goons. Zach Stone, anything you want to say before we call it a day?
Just want to give a couple special shout outs. I have JP and Jessica. They are awesome people that have been coming to the booth and just getting into Lorcana. They completely have no other TCG kind of experience. They kind of just went in head first, and I really implore people to kind of do that if you've been thinking about it. I know a lot of people collect and they don't play, and I kind of wish that changed. Not saying you have to play competitively, but just know how to play, know how to have fun, and go to a local league night one day. Just participate, because this game has a lot more to it, and it has a lot of lore and understanding, because some of the cards and how they interact is like more into what the character actually is in the Disney universe. So it's very fun and it's very exciting. Again, thank you to everybody that does support me at our store and at the booths, because again, without your guys' support, we wouldn't be here. And make sure you guys are joining our Discord with our link down below, because a lot of you guys are getting really excited about these cards revealed. And honestly, we can't keep up with it. So let us know what cards get revealed, and when they are, drop them in the card news channel.
And we'll see you goons next time.